Calling the North Carolina Amateur Radio Operator Net, calling the NC Ham Radio Net on Echolink, N4AED-L. My name's Martin. My call sign is KI4CFS, and I am located in Raleigh. I'll be your net control station tonight. This net meets on the first Monday of every month at 6:30 sharp and is directed by Net Control. Its goal is to share and learn about what is going on with amateur radio in North Carolina. The NC Amateur Radio Operator Group on Facebook's mission is an umbrella group to support all the great NC ham radio clubs and groups in this state. To check in, call Net Control. Pause to check for doubling and give your call sign, your name, and your location. Let me know if you're mobile so I can get to you first. Anyone can begin. KI4CFS.
KI4CFS. Please check in. KI4DCR, Charles in North Raleigh.
KI4CFS. Here is N4AED, Richard in Wendell.
KI4CFS. Please check in. Kilo Oscar 4, Delta Hotel, Juliet. Ken in Northern Durham.
Net Control, this is Kilo Oscar 4, Charlie Whiskey Charlie, Randy in good old Statesville, over.
This net is about anything you've heard related to North Carolina. If you haven't, and ham radio, if you heard it secondhand or what's going on. And if you don't have anything of that, if there's something you're working on in North Carolina on your own project or heard in the next door, that's the focus of this net. Whatever you got, we'll start with KI4DCR, who often has a great input on what's going on in the coast.
Well, we had Danny Hampton, K4ITL, on the net about 3 weeks ago, and he informed me that they were in the process of getting someone to climb the tower and put the 224.16 back on the air. Has all the necessary stuff to do with it, just waiting on a person to climb the tower. So that's a 224.16 K4ITL repeater that was up about 1,800 feet on the WRL tower. So it's going to be resurrected here as soon as probably these weekend bad weather storms stop. So that was the big news. It'd be nice to have that back. The other news was he's planning on putting the 8.8 machine back up on the big tower at some point in the near future too, and that will be nice to have another powerful wide coverage repeater on 2 meters. Anything else? Of course, the Rars Fest is coming up in April. AB40Z Ham Fest is coming up in the latter part of March, and you can go to QRZ.com and just punch in AB40Z to get all those updates. But the Ham Fest are coming up. Richmond Frost Fest, that was canceled. That normally would be like next week, I believe, but they're not having it. Couldn't get the staffing, and the coronavirus played into that too. Let me see, what else? I'm kind of getting ready for a possible surgery this week, so kind of been out of pocket and just been going back to doctors. And I got the big one coming up Wednesday to see what the final outcome will be. So kind of be out of pocket for a couple of weeks. What else? Let's see. We have a net over on the 14688 on Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 7 o'clock. I call the Tuesday one. Robert calls the Wednesday one. And don't forget the 440, Carolina 440 net comes on tonight at 7:30. And that's on the K4JDR link system. And it's real easy if you want to know if you're near one of the repeaters. Just go to carolina440.com, and they're all listed on the website. That's about all I've got. I'm in some pain, so I'm going to cut it short tonight. Have been programming up a bunch of scanners and some Motorola radios and enjoying all that. And I'll throw it back to Martin. This is KI4DCR here in North Raleigh, out. 73s, everybody.
That was an outstanding report, Charles, and our thoughts and prayers for your surgery. We'll check in, give you a call later on that, but that was excellent to hear. You always give a good report on what's going on, and that's also why we start our net 6:30 to 7:30 sharp. So there's room for other events going on. Appreciate what you have to offer and appreciate you keeping us up. I'm excited. I have a beautiful Elinko here. I got a DR 235 220, and I can hardly wait to chat on that again. And that was on your recommendation, which I'm very happy with. I love the thing. Now we'll go to the next, N4AED. And Richard, give an update and also an update with JARS, what's going on with it. And please at least mention, again, that little rewards you got at recognition at Christmas and restate what we're looking for the D-Star to move forward. Over to you, Richard, N4AED from KI4CFS.
KI4CFS in the net. This is N4AED. Richard in Wendell. What Martin was hinting around at is that I got the Ham of the Year award for the JARS Johnson Amateur Radio Society group. Didn't expect it, but I did. It's a prestigious award, and I get to give it to somebody next year. So hopefully, I'll give it to somebody deserving, even though that the board, the club members vote on it. So let's see what else is going on. All right, I've been teaching another fellow ham, KO4MSN here local, POTA, and he's got the POTA addiction. Parks on the Air is it's something that I enjoy doing when I have free time, and plan on doing some activations. Hopefully when it gets a little bit warmer and drier, working on an antenna solution, and got the battery and the solar panel to keep the battery charged and all that good mess, and looking forward to getting back out in some of these state parks and having some fun. Martin also hinted about the D-Star machine. It's still sitting in limbo. It's a nice shelf piece here in my office. We're looking for some 440 megahertz tunable cans, so we can have two antennas fairly close to one another. And unfortunately, these cans are rather expensive, so we're looking for a used set that somebody may want to either donate or give to us for a reasonable cost. Reasonable, I mean. We're talking about ham radio, and there's nothing reasonable in ham radio but the hobby. But that's all we're waiting for that. I got the controller, I got the computer set up. We're just waiting for some cans to, and then maybe two antennas to. Well, I think Charles said he had those. So we're sitting here at in a holding pattern, waiting to see if we can locate some reasonably priced or free cans for a 440 megahertz repeater. Other than that, I've just been sitting here playing around with FT8, another hobby of mine, and enjoying making contacts around the globe with very minimal power at best. Well, Martin, I'll give it back to you. Hopefully I covered everything you wanted, and I'll sit here and listen. This is N4AED, Richard in wonderful Wendell, North Carolina.
Also, would you share a little bit about the JARS Fest? Because there was a tremendous work that went into it, and I think it went over pretty good. I was so excited. It was like I just loved to see the turnout and all the people that helped out with it. So would you throw in one more on the report of the JARS Fest?
Well, I don't have the figures in front of me, but JARS Fest, even though we missed last year, was one of the best years we had in the last 5 years. We have it every third Sunday in November at the American Legion building there in Benson, North Carolina. And we were sold out inside and almost sold out outside in the flea market area. We had very good attendance. I think that next year will even be better. And to put in a plug for our sister club or a brother club or whatever you want to call it, the Raleigh Amateur Radio Society, there's in April, and I plan on being a vendor there as well. Trying to get JARS to get a table there and put a presence, and hopefully we'll vote on doing that on Thursday at the Board of Directors meeting. But we made a profit for this one, so that's a good one. And if we make more profit next year, guess what? That's even better. But look forward to seeing any and everybody that wants to come out. Put it on your book. The third Sunday of November is going to be Jars Fest 2022. All right, Martin, back to you in 480.
Thanks so much, Richard. That was excellent, and that closes out in 4AED. Now look forward to hearing from Ken, KO4DHJ in Durham.
Well, thank you, Martin. This is Ken up here in Durham, KO4DHJ. Well, I started this morning, kind of sad news, was checking into the Possom Trot Net about 7 o'clock this morning at 145-450. And KN4 KUO Derwin is giving it up. He's been doing it now for quite a while, and he started out as a part-timer, just doing 1 day a week, and he ended up with the whole thing, and it's just business. So he's going to give it up, which it's a sad thing when you see a net go away. But just don't have any volunteers that are willing to start at 5:45 every morning and run it all the way till 7:30 in the morning. It was a drive time thing, but not a whole lot of activity. Sometimes he only has 8 check-ins. This morning he had, I think, 16, which was a good thing. But he'll be doing it all this week. So if any of you are up at that time of the morning, I'm sure he'd be glad to hear from you before they shut down the old Possom Trot Net here in DFMA. Anyway, after that, I hit South Cars and the Noontime Net at Swark, and the Boredom Breaker Net on and E-Cars. I mean, I've just been doing nets all day. It was a perfect day for that with all the rain. And I'm studying for my extra. Been taking my classes through the ARRL. They have a free service that they're doing on every Thursday night from 6:30 till 9:30, and 3 hours a week. Actual instructor live talk class over Zoom, and we started in on January the 20th, and we'll finish up on March the 31st, and then I should be ready to take that extra and not fail it this time. I missed it by just a few last time, so I think this time I'll be much better prepared. That's about all I got. I mean, I'm getting ready to have another net later with our Ochre group on 10 meters at 28,450, just about an hour and 15 minutes. Anyway, that's about all I got. Just been enjoying life and enjoying ham radio. Back to net control, KO4DHJ. Thank you, Martin and Charles, for all you do, and Richard.
Excellent. Ken, I'm going to ask you if you'd share a moment of what is the Possom Trot Net, because it's such a great piece of history, and I want to do something to honor it and also restate the frequency if anyone wants to hear it. I remember the two women, and do you remember there's a great saying at the end of it? If you happen to remember it, I'd love to hear it again, that they used to close out with. But I remember the women years ago, and I got somewhere in my files the certificate of membership. So I'd love if you just add a few more words about its history to kind of honor here tonight. Just a minute. And I'm so glad you shared that this is the final run. He certainly earned it. So, Ken, if you don't mind, back to you for a minute on KO4DHJ from KF4CFM.
The official Possum Trot closing. All you possums remember the code of the possum. Walk softly and wear a big grin. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. If things go wrong, don't go with them. Just hang in there like a hair in a biscuit. That's all for now, friends, because the tall pines pine, and the pawpaws pause, and the bumblebees bumble all around. Grasshoppers hop, and the eavesdroppers drop, while gently the old possum slips away. That's the ending of it.
Thank you, Ken. That's just wonderful. I'll never remember like a hair in a biscuit. That was just terrific. Now, Randy, for the big report of that beautiful western area of the state, over to Randy, KO4CWC. I want to hear, there's a lot of stuff that I've heard is going on in the western part of North Carolina. Randy, over to you in Statesville. Give us the report of that area.
Well, thank you and good evening, Net Control. This is Kilo Oscar 4, Charlie Whiskey Charlie. Randy in good old Statesville. Yes, plenty has been going on, especially if you're interested in skiing or winter sports. You know, head for the mountains, as they say. Some people are still continuing this great POTA movement. In fact, hopefully they got with you, Martin, and gave you an interview for that YouTube channel. It looks like they were about to do that the last time I looked. Besides POTA, though, one thing that's coming out, at least in western North Carolina, is a lot of these clubs are resurrecting the test programs that they once kind of let peter away, and now they're bringing them back slowly, and by the end of this year you'll see a lot of them come back to fruition. So don't be afraid, if you're upgrading, to look around to your local club and see if they're doing just that. It'd be worth your while, or if you want to become a VE, do that as well. That's the other movement that I'm seeing over here in western North Carolina, and I think it's just great. We are benefiting because we are the absolute survival mode, as we like to say, in ham radio. And now that's all from me. Back to you, Martin at KI4CFS. This has been Kilo Oscar 4, Charlie Whiskey Charlie, over.
Randy, thanks so much. Okay, we'll keep moving, and there are a few things I have. One, please share it in your community, in your groups, and we've got a lot of great announcements. And the other thing we're looking for is if someone's familiar with how to get this also simultaneously broadcast on the Facebook groups. It's a little different than just a area. That would be our goal in the next few months. Please pass it on to Richard. He's the tech wizard among us on those things. Love to find out. Also, just want to say we have a group IO. I'll post it in the group, and that's a way to get reminders of anything that you see. Looking for any news that you have, make sure you add it to the group on Facebook. I am now closing the NC Ham Radio Net. Thanks for participating. What we ask is if you get value or enjoy it, let people know. This is a goal for networking and connecting hams all over the state and hearing what's great that's happening in ham radio in North Carolina. You can find us on North Carolina Amateur Radio Operator Facebook, and our mission is an umbrella group to support all the great NC ham radio clubs and groups in this state. I'll now return this link to regular activity. This is KI4CFS signing in clear.